Let's see if it's too late to go game hunting for games for Christmas. First stop is my local Target store, where I headed right back to the electronics section. And wow, was I shocked right away. They had a few PlayStation 5s here, which was interesting, and a few controllers. But then when I kept walking, the shelves got worse and worse with less things on them, which was pretty crazy. There was not very many PS5 games. There was Helldivers 2, which was pretty interesting. And then if you needed one of those Final Fantasy remakes or Grand Theft Auto for the PS5, which came out like 15 years ago, you could do that. Then I headed to the Nintendo Switch section. This end cap is usually where they have all their new games, and as you can tell, it's only about half full, but they do still have some new games that just recently came out. This is where a bunch of consoles normally are. They do have a few here, but I was shocked to see that many. It seems like they do have a pretty decent selection of controllers still, which is pretty nice to see. But the games looked like they've definitely been picked through. There was a bunch of games here, but honestly, not very many that I hadn't seen like 100 times. But I did go to this case, which looked a little different, and they actually had a bunch of actually newer games here, which was pretty cool to see. I was not expecting that. So there was pretty cool. I had to stop and say hey to Mario on the pole, you know, he's just dancing out there. Then I made it to the Xbox section, which had like 4 Xbox consoles and then like no controllers, a few headsets, and then I got to the game section and it was absolutely bare, which was just crazy to me. And honestly, I don't know if we waited too long, because Christmas is like a few days away, but I feel like these box stores probably should be ready for this. But that's the first stop here. We had Target. Let's go ahead and go to Best Buy in my area and see if they have any more stuff, because Target didn't have very much, honestly. So I made my way to my local Best Buy store that's not very far from that Target store, headed in search of video games. You know what I did. Went straight back to the back where all the video games are. And honestly, right off the bat, this section, there was a hole, but there was still a ton of Switch consoles, whether it was a Switch OLED, Switch Lite, or anything like that. But then I got to the controller section. This Kirby one looks amazing. They had a few controllers here, but as you can see, there was definitely a lot missing. Then I made my way over to the games, which they had a lot more than Target did for sure. I ended up finding this NES World Championships, which was pretty cool. I've already got this. Definitely really awesome to still see these in stores. This is a new game that just came out for the Switch that's definitely awesome. Then a few more awesome games that I think are definitely well worth picking up for someone or for yourself for Christmas. Mario and Luigi Brothership just recently came out. They still have that, as well as Super Mario Wonder. All of these games are definitely well worth picking up. Then I turned to the PlayStation section, and they had some controllers and some headsets, but if you're looking for some of this stuff, you kind of want to go out really quickly and go find this. I did see a PS5 DualSense Edge controller, which was pretty cool. I was not expecting that. And then I found another end cap, which did have pretty much the same controllers, and then this white one, but at the bottom they had a blue one that was open box, but it didn't have a price. So I continued to the game section for the PS5, which was very, very bare. There's probably like 10 games available here, and a lot of them were duplicates. Again, there's Helldivers 2. And again, I'm kind of seeing the same games here as I did at Target, but this one seemed to be much more picked through and kind of smaller, to be honest. I found this Xbox Elite controller on the end cap, and then I found this icy blue controller that just looks insane there. I kind of want to get that because it looks so awesome. Checked out the accessories for the Xbox, and they were basically gone through. There was a few headsets there, but nothing that was crazy. And then I got to the game section, which was already a really small section, and half of it was gone. I did find Alan Wake 2, which was interesting to see because I hadn't seen that on the Xbox at Target. And then again, some more controllers. But honestly, I don't know, but Best Buy seems to be getting smaller and smaller on their game section, which is kind of a bummer. I found this one last end cap. It did have a few backbones here, which was interesting, as well as the controller from Logitech that controlled that sinking Titanic ship, but I digress about that. I just thought that was funny that they're still selling these things. But I felt like Best Buy honestly had even less than the Target store. The section at Best Buy has gotten smaller and smaller over the past like 2 or 3 years, but to see it just like bare like this is kind of disappointing. But I've got one more stop at Walmart that I'm hoping we can find something good, because Target and Best Buy seem to be ransacked with games. So let's head into my local Walmart store and see if we can find any games here. Hopefully they have a much better stock than the other 2 stores. Once I got in, obviously, I went right back to the electronics section, and honestly, they were actually pretty stocked. There's a ton of headsets still, a ton of consoles here, a bunch of controllers here, and some racing wheels, which are pretty cool. I didn't see those at the other places, which was interesting to me. Again, more controllers and headsets. Then I ended up turning around and checking out the section for games, and there was a ton of PS5s down there. We'll talk about the PS5 section in a minute, but it seemed like this Xbox section was like 3 times bigger, maybe 2 times bigger than all the other Xbox places, whether it was at Target or Best Buy. So it seems to be, if you're wanting Xbox games, Walmart might be the place to go, because they seem to be stocking a bunch of them. And then I kind of continued on to the PlayStation section, which again, I ended up seeing a lot more at Walmart than I did the other places. I checked out the games here. There's a few spots here and there that are like missing games, but for the most part, I don't feel like this is as empty as the other places, which is definitely cool to see. There are a ton of PS4 and PS5 games here that I think were worth picking up. Then I checked out the accessories. We've got a ton of controllers here. We've got a ton of headsets, even some racing wheels like we talked about for the Xbox section. Honestly, this has been picked through, but there's still a ton of stuff there, and as well as a few consoles here and some PlayStation portals, which is pretty cool to see. And then, I had to make my way to the Nintendo Switch section. They did have a bunch of systems down there. Pretty much every system that's Nintendo selling for the Switch is there. Then they had a bunch of accessories here, whether it was cases, controllers. You even had a ton of Joy-Cons here at the top here. They had Pro controllers and Joy-Cons all in this little cool added case at the top. Then here is kind of like the cheaper games that maybe didn't make it into the glass cases because they were just games that maybe weren't as desirable. I don't know. But then they had a section of digital gift cards, which was interesting to me. It makes sense, but interesting nonetheless. Then you've got a section here with a very weird looking game, but they had multiple copies of it. So if you're interested in that, go ahead. I did notice that they put these cards that say like out of stock, and they make this look a lot better. Sorry about the angle, but I was kind of checking those out and trying to read them. And so it was interesting. This didn't feel as empty as the other ones did whenever they just didn't have anything to fill that space. I think this was a cool way to kind of make this not feel just as empty as it could have felt without games. And then a few on this end cap here at the end of the PlayStation aisle. And I also saw this Atari Classic console. I feel like this is like 5 years too late, but interesting to see nonetheless. It was like $69, which is funny, but I don't know if this is worth picking up. Maybe if someone give it to me, I would be happy. But honestly, I feel like if you're looking to buy games, you might want to head out to Walmart. At least in my area, Walmart had a bunch of the games that I would like to see or pick up, or even consoles, whereas Target kind of was pretty bare. Maybe I caught them at a bad time and they hadn't restocked, but these were all on the same day. So it was interesting to see that Target and Best Buy in my area kind of were really picked through, but Walmart seemed to have a much better stock. So if you are still searching for video games, consoles, games, accessories, whatever it is for Christmas, I think you gotta go to Walmart. At least for me in my area, Walmart's where I would go. There was some cool stuff that I did see there that I wanted, but I didn't pick up. This is plainly to see what was still available with Christmas only like 3 or 4 days away. So if you're still looking, maybe head into Walmart, and if you don't find what you're looking for there, maybe head into Target or Best Buy, because Christmas is not too far away, and if you need to pick up gifts, now's the time to go do it. But I'm gonna get out of here. I've got something planned that I've got to take care of, so check that video out right there. But honestly, I felt like Walmart's section was bigger than Target and Best Buy, and they had more in stock, or at least they made it feel like they had more in stock. So what do you think? Comment down below, and if you've gone into these places in your area, let me know if they're stocked or if people have completely taken all the games and bought them. So I'm getting out of here, so check that video out if you haven't already.